Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Bears Talk Live. I'm Juju Phillips as we talk Lenoir-Rhyne athletics for the next 30 minutes, and we're going to devote a lot of our time tonight to talking round ball, little basketball tonight. We'll lead it off with the head coach for the Bears, Everick Sullivan. Last week, the Bears on Saturday came away with their first win of the season. Coach, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as you look back, before we talk a little bit about that game, did you enjoy your little Thanksgiving holiday?
Great Thanksgiving. Got a chance to spend some time with the family. Great turkey, ham. Some of the guys came over to the house, so it was awesome Thanksgiving. And
you followed that up on Saturday with the win over Limestone, 71-60. As you look at that game, what are the takeaways? What did you see out of your team that you liked?
We're definitely a work in progress, but we're trending up. I think guys are beginning to figure each other out. They continue to bring the right attitude, tremendous amount of effort. So they're in the right frame of mind, and that's a good thing. And then as you continue to play games, you just want to see improvement in certain areas. So I was excited about some of the positives, and then you look at it and you try to fix some of the negatives so you continue to get better.
When we talked last week, you had talked about maybe finishing strong and being more consistent. The Bears did finish strong in that game. As the final 2 or 2.5 minutes, you outscored Limestone. Yeah,
we've noticed that we've been in every game probably to the last 4-minute mark, and closing the game and is maybe has a little bit more to do about who we're putting in those situations. So we made some adjustments to who we're handling the ball. I think Jabril Diallo did a great job of handling the ball. Darius Simmons did a great job along with Corey Thomas down the stretch, and that's how we're able to close the game out. So put the ball in the right person's hand at the right time, get to the free throw line, don't turn it over, no live ball turnovers, and make your free throws. You can close the game out.
Balanced scoring, I noticed from the box score, that and some pretty good defense as you held a team that been averaging over 80 points, well under their average.
Yeah, our defense is sustaining. I mean, that's what we talked about all the time. Your defense is going to be the one thing that you can take with you no matter what if your offense isn't clicking. So the guys play tremendous defense. In terms of guarding, some guys were really good off the bounce. They made some threes in bunches, but for the most part, we kept the three-point percentage at 30% or lower. And then I think that the balanced attack that we have is going to be tough for teams to figure out who to stop on any given night. When you get 4 or 5 guys that can average double figures, that's a positive. That's something that you can use in terms of a scouting report advantage. Any night, anybody may be able to hit you for 15, 16, 17 points.
And that finding that consistency as well, as you talked about in the past, in the last couple of times. When you look at the team, what other aspects of the team's game did you think that this team saw some improvement in, some growth?
Rebounding. I think we held our own in our last 2 games. I think we won the rebounding war against Limestone, or maybe lost by 1. And then Newberry, I think we might have won that by 2, if I'm correct. So we've got a rebounding by committee mentality. We're not putting it on Awana to get all the rebounds, although he's getting double-doubles pretty much the last 2 out of 4 games, but we need our guards to start chipping in, getting 3 or 4, our wings to get 3 or 4. So we've got more of a committee approach to rebounding. I think it showed tremendous improvement over the last 2 games. I think the next thing is ball movement, not having one guy just dominate the basketball. When you got guys that can really score the ball, like Corey Thomas and Jabril, they may tend to just overbounce it. So we want to share it, get great ball movement, and try to get our three-point shooters some open shots by accumulating paint touches. We track paint touches. We want about 40 to 50 paint touches a game, which we think that increases our three-point percentage.
When you look at this basketball team as well, the rotation, you mentioned that. Are you feeling more and more comfortable with the way the rotation is?
No,
still trying to figure it out?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how to get off the better starts. Who's going to be a primary ball handler. I like to have 3 ball handlers on the floor if I could at all times. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that for the majority of the game, but during crucial times when you may have a lead, you want to get multiple ball handlers on the floor so you can handle traps. But I think just in terms of who's going to be the playmaker or the point guard, who's going to be the captain, who's going to be the leader in terms of handling the ball for the majority of the game is still somewhat of we're just not sure exactly who that is. We think we found some answers in the last game. We do think Jabril could be that guy, but you have to do it more than one game to show that you're going to be that guy.
When we talked to you last week and also talked to Billy Bells, he said that all this team needed was one victory and then maybe get on a roll and get some momentum. From what you've seen since Saturday, what has that one win done for the program or done for the team?
Even before the game, and we've talked to a lot of people, but I had a conversation with Kim Pay, our athletic director, and she made a very good point. Like, when you bring a group of guys in that's very talented, everybody see them, then you beat Citadel, a Division I team, your expectations go up drastically. People assume you're going to be good. Everybody wants to be good. So you lose a couple games early, and the only thing you can think about, especially as a coach, probably as fans, is getting a win. That's all you're focused on, is getting a win. And I think the guys started to feel that and put a little bit of stress on them, unwarranted stress on them. So I kind of, told them, don't think about getting the win. Just think about making the next play, winning the next possession, and then the win will come. And we took that mindset into the game, and I think it worked out great for us in the end.
Sounds like you are a process-oriented coach.
I have some of that into me. I'm also a player's coach in a lot of ways, so I'm not a guy who's going to take you out necessarily after you make one or two mistakes, although I told Mason Hawks, you get 2 turnovers. I'm going to give you 2 turnovers before the game even starts. But after 2 turnovers, 3 strikes, and you're out. So I do have a process mentality in terms of trying to think things through, but I'm also a field guy. And if a guy's playing well, I want guys to play with confidence. I want them to play free basketball, so I can understand them having to have that confidence.
When you talk now, taking that exhale after that first win, you turn around tomorrow night and get back into the conference on the road at Coker. Not an easy place to play. What do they have this year?
Not at all. I mean, I went back and looked. I think the last 2 games, the last 2 Lenoir-Rhyne teams were down by double-digit figures before they were able to pull the game out. So we mentioned that to the guys. They beat Limestone by double digits, and I think they were 2-4 at this point, maybe 2-5 after they lost to Emmanuel out of Georgia last night. So very talented, very athletic, a team of runs. They can make shots. They play a fast, up-paced tempo, probably somewhat similar to Newberry and Citadel combined. But I don't know if they have the offensive weapons to sustain that. So our defense is going to have to get back in transition, find their playmakers. I think they're not necessarily three-point shooters, but they're confident guys. And if they can hit a couple, it can get them going. So we don't want to let those guys get going. And then if they press us and trap us, let's be aggressive. Let's break it. Let's try to score. And if not, let's pull it out and let's execute and get good quality shots.
I can't think of a better early Christmas present than for a young basketball team to go on the road and come away with a road conference win. What do you think that would do to this basketball team with that kind of mindset?
Juju, did I not just tell you we're not talking about wins? How about we're going to go get the jump ball, and that's the start of it. That's going to be the start of it.
I'll stay process-oriented. I got you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, after that, as you look at playing Coker, and if you got a feel yet around the South Atlantic Conference, what some of the teams have based off of what you've learned maybe from the preseason?
Well, scheduling, it can fool you if you look at just records. But you do have 4 teams, I think, at either 5-0 or 4-2 or 5-1. So the top half of the conference is really, really good. Not sure who they played, but I just know record-wise they look very good. Then you have some guys that are probably better than what their record are, like Lenoir-Rhyne, and they're just improving. So I don't think you can take anybody at granted or say right now who they are or what they will be by the time you see them. So we're going to focus on us. We're going to stay locked in on what we need to do to improve each and every day and just let the chips fall where they may.
Coach, as always, good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Head coach Everick Sullivan, let's give him a hand, fans. The Bears on the road at Coker. Men's and women's doubleheader coming up tomorrow night. We'll continue with our theme of basketball, bringing in now the head women's coach, Cam Sealey. Her team is also on the road. Take your time, Coach, as they get ready to play at Coker. The women's team now 3-3 on the season after a win over Lees McRae, scoring 98 points, 3-3 on the season. You look at this team where it stands. How do you feel about your basketball team?
I feel really good. We ended this stretch of a couple non-conference games, and Newberry mixed in their conference game, and 3-3, and I'm very pleased with that. I told you after that 4 games in 6 days, if we were 2-2, I'd be good, and then we ended this past week 1-1. I'd like to change it up and be 2-0 a couple weeks, but I'm very pleased with where we're at. We just left practice. Madi Suddreth is standing over there, one of my players. We just left practice, ended a little bit early because they're doing things so well. They're buying in. They're coming ready to practice every single day and get better, and that's what I've asked from them all year. And the fact that they're able to do that and bring it every single day is a huge refresher as a coach.
What have you liked about your basketball team early on?
Early on, I like the fact that we run in transition. That's what we practiced all preseason, and that's what we focused on. And so it makes our preseason feel even more productive than it felt a couple weeks ago. And if we weren't running in transition, I'd be a little bit worried about us right now. But I think that's our biggest plus right now. And like I said, the work ethic they bring every day, 100%. I never have to walk in the gym and wonder, is the team going to be here today? And so that's always a really good feeling.
Has this been a team so far that's been fun to coach, and you can push them when you need to and pull off if you have to? So talk about that for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, they are a very fun group. They're coachable. One of my number one goals this summer, besides recruiting, was to build relationships with the players that are here now. I didn't want to know the recruits better than I knew my own team. So I started building that relationship coming back in April when I got here and all the way through the summer, and I think that allowed me to build that with them to where they trusted me when they got here to allow me to coach them. And so I coach them hard, and I'm honest with them. I'm sarcastic with them at times. I made a promise to one of our players, Olivia Nunn, on Thanksgiving. I wouldn't make one sarcastic comment, but I actually failed at that. And I think that's allowed me that prior relationship to actually start in the coaching part. Has given me the freedom to actually get on them a couple times and ask for things that they haven't been used to. So I think that helped a good bit.
Is being a head coach right now, is it everything that you thought it would be, or any surprises, or what maybe has surprised you the most as being a first-year head coach at your alma mater?
It's probably everything that I thought it would be. It helps having Sierra Simpson, Andy Olejak, and Hillary Southworth as my assistants, because anytime that there's something that happens in a game and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a shocker, I just sit down between them and they're like, all right, well, we can do this, we can do that, and it really helps to bounce stuff off of them. I think the biggest thing I thought would be a shocker is the in-game situations, but having those guys really to bounce stuff off of with the experience they have has helped me relax in those situations.
We asked Coach Sullivan about the basketball team personnel. Are you happy with either the rotation or some of the players that have been coming in and out for you so far?
Yeah, we started with 5 starting lineup in the first few games, and we actually switched that, and 2 seniors went out and 2 freshmen came in. And our seniors actually played much more relaxed coming off the bench, and the freshmen got some really good experience starting the game that I think they'll end up starting a good many games in their career. So it's really good to get them started with that early. And we started to get into a rotation. Now, if we get into some foul trouble, of course that might change, but so far I'm going to knock on some wood. We haven't had to look at that yet.
You mentioned about transition. You scored 98 points in your last game out. What areas would you like to see this team improve in?
I think we got to get better defensively, just stopping people one-on-one. I think that's probably our biggest struggle is letting people get by us on closeouts, in the post. I think staying down and actually containing the person that we're guarding. I told them, I was like, I don't want people blowing by us. I want you to take pride in guarding who you're guarding. If somebody scores on you, I want you to get a little mad. I want to see it on your face because we have got to get better at that. So I would say that, and just a little bit sharper on our passes and our execution.
Hey, Coker, talk about them tomorrow. You go on the road to take on that team in the South Atlantic Conference. Give us a few seconds about what you expect and what kind of team they have.
They're very athletic. They brought in 3 transfer post players who have all had an immediate impact. They're 3 of their top 5 scorers, so they're going to bring an immediate presence from the start of the game. And they're very athletic, 163, 162, and so our immediate focus there was talking to our post players. You have got to stay down because they want to get by you, and you have got to. I think my scouting report's typed out in font 12, and I put in font 16 or maybe 18, box out. So our big focus tomorrow is box out, and we're still going to try to run and really just continue the scoring and the confidence of the shooters that we have, and keep building on that.
You did not have a chance to play Coker, right, when you were here? They weren't in the conference then, were they? I was going to say it's a tough place to play, though, and having to go all the way down to South Carolina, Hartsfield to play.
The only time I played them was up at a tournament in Mars Hill, and they were there for a Christmas tournament, but it was a non-conference game and just a holiday tournament. So I've not been there, but I look forward to going there. We have an alumni, Brittany Christian from Lenoir-Rhyne, who is an assistant coach there, so it'll be good to see her. Little rivalry going on.
Absolutely. And in the South Atlantic Conference, I know it's so early, and I asked Coach Sullivan the same thing. You have any idea how this conference is going to shake out? Have you learned anything about the conference early on?
Yeah, they're really good. Carson Newman's averaging almost over 100 points right now, first in the preseason regional poll, which isn't a huge deal, but it is a ranking, and they're ranked first in it. I think there's 5 other schools in the SAC ranked up there. Everybody's scoring the basketball, and one of our early preseason goals was to be top in the league in scoring, but I think that's changed a little bit seeing how much the other teams are scoring because they are putting up a lot of points. We got to learn how to play some defense if we're going to pull out some games and finish where we were predicted in the league.
You talked about scoring points. One of the ladies, I think your leading scorer, Madi Suddreth, is our special guest tonight. Talk about her and what she has meant to this program in your first year.
Well, I mean, she's an outstanding player, but it's funny, the other night, first time out of the game, she got a layup thrown to her, a ball thrown to her on the block, and she went up for a layup over a guard. And she kind of got hit a little bit, and she threw it across, and I called a timeout shortly after that, and I looked at her, and I was like, that was a soft play. I was like, that was soft. And I think she took that to heart a little bit because after that, she didn't play soft anymore, and she put up, I think she was like 16 for 24 from the field and scored 35, and her jersey is actually 35, and our athletic trainer, Flick, texted me on my way out. He was like, hey, maybe we should change Maddie's number to 51, and maybe she'll put up 51 points, you know? And so she's been outstanding for us this year. We didn't even really draw up many isolation plays for the other night. It just so happened that our plays led into her getting the ball in her hands, and she just made plays. And then when she wasn't making plays, she was crashing the glass, and because she still had 10 rebounds, and I think 4 of them was offensive, and she finished off of those. So outstanding player pursuing the basketball. She's going to create some mismatches for people in the future as well.
Madi Suddreth, our special guest. Madi, come on up here. Let's give her a hand, fans. Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck tomorrow night. You betcha. Madi Suddreth, the Lenoir-Rhyne women's basketball leading scorer. You mentioned a career-high 35 the other night, and the Bears win. Madi, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're certainly welcome. Thanks for joining us. Talk about this basketball team under Coach in her first year.
There's just so much to say. I think we're a completely different bunch than I've ever been a part of. Just great energy, great teammates. We're all about team chemistry and how we bond and we celebrate the goods. It doesn't matter who is scoring, who's getting that rebound. We're proud of our teammates. We're happy for them. And so I think that's huge, and it's going to be a huge part of our success this year.
When you talk about that, have you accepted the role as a team leader, and how has that been?
Yes, I definitely. I think that's my role, and we all have our roles on the team: rebounding, leader, talker, someone who brings energy. And so I definitely like the role as a leader. I'm definitely more as leading through example, not so much by words, because I feel like actions speak louder. And so I do embrace that role, and I'm excited to see how it grows over the season.
That says something about you. Not a lot of players in any sport. Sometimes there are a few that do not like to embrace the role of being a team leader, but you have taken that on.
Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility, and so I definitely embrace that. As
you look at this team now as what you think it can do, you were around the last few years. The team had a winning record last year. What do you think this team can do this year as you go down now into really the strength of the South Atlantic Conference?
Mm-hmm. It's such a strong conference, and so I do think that we will have a winning record. And we set a couple of milestone goals for being having top 3 shooting percentage, top 3 scoring in the SAC, and so reaching those milestone goals will lead us into the goal of finishing top 5 or better in the SAC. And I think that just all the work that we prepared preseason, what we do in practice every day, has just set us up to succeed.
How did you come to Lenoir-Rhyne? Talk about your story.
Hickory's in my backyard. I'm a huge family person, and so my grandparents are right down the road, and it was really huge for me to have them in the stands for me every home game. They're a huge part of what I do. Plus, it's just we win, the Bears win. And so that was huge for me coming here. Like, I want to be a part of a winning program, and I'm behind what we do here. We're family, great people, great athletic trainers, great staff. And so I just bought in, and I'm glad I'm here.
All right, Madi Suddreth. Fans, let's give her a hand. Madi, good luck tomorrow night and the rest of the season. Thanks for joining us. Come on back again.
Thanks so much. Thanks
All right,
for
Madi
having me.
Suddreth of the Lenoir-Rhyne women's basketball team. And fans, that'll just about wrap it up, our show. We got another special guest coming on board. Someone grabbed a microphone? No, we don't. Okay, that's it. We're going to wrap our show up. Don't forget, we'll be back here every Tuesday night from American Honor Ale House here at Holler Mill off Lenoir-Rhyne Boulevard, right next to Lenoir-Rhyne University. Every Tuesday from 7 until 7:30. If you can be out there watching us, come on by and join us for some nice dinner and some fellowship as we talk Lenoir-Rhyne athletics. Until next Tuesday at 7 o'clock, for the entire Lenoir-Rhyne family and all the fine folks here tonight, I'm Juju Phillips. Good night, everyone.